The next tool that we use pretty often is a mirror. So it's a mirror on a pole, and usually have a flashlight in your other hand. And once we identify the tank and uncover the main access, then we use the mirror and flashlight to look for structural integrity of the top of the tank, for baffles, make sure the baffles are intact. So that's something that you just kind of learn from experience, but that's how we inspect the interior of tanks. Over time, there's things you can learn about these different components. The baffles of tanks, which we learned about in the previous lesson, if they're concrete, they can deteriorate above the water line, down to the water line, so that gases in the wastewater eat the concrete and they deteriorate down to the water line. And typically the outlet baffle is the one that deteriorates first, but sometimes the inlet baffle either falls off, gets knocked off, we need to make sure the baffles are there. Plastic baffles, which are now what everybody's typically using, the thing that happens with them is that they can become unattached from the wall. They're plastic sheets and they're anchored into the wall, and sometimes one of the sides becomes unattached, so then they're not as effective. So we need to look for that. And so baffles that are missing or deteriorated are not satisfactory, something that needs to be addressed. Another thing we inspect with the mirror is the structural integrity. So we look for rusted rebar, exposed. So pretty common on the ceiling of the tank. So when you look down there at the mirror, you look down, put the mirror right at the liquid level, and then you're looking, with the mirror, you're looking up. You're looking at the ceiling of the tank. And if you see any rusted rebar, exposed rusted rebar in the ceiling, that's unsatisfactory and needs to be repaired. So that shows up usually with, you see the red rusted metal, coming through the concrete, and then that's something that needs to be repaired. Obviously cracks, if the top is cracked, that's definitely unsatisfactory. That needs to be, the top needs to be replaced. And also if the concrete's deteriorated, so if it's flaking off, there's some situations where the concrete gets chemically deteriorated. There's a white film on it, and it's just kind of pulling away and falling in. That's unsatisfactory, and there needs to be further investigation to determine if it can be repaired or if a tank needs to be